Hello everyone, I'm Alif and today we're going to speedrun Rust in 8 hours, but I think in this video it'll just gonna be a few minutes. But Rust is a new modern system programming. It's a low level programming language like C and C++, designed for performance, safety and concurrency. This guide will walk you through 8 keys learning hours, from variables, ownership to traits and closures. And let's just begin. For hour first, we will learn about variables, constants, and data types. Rust is statically typed. Variables are immutable by default. You need to use mute to create a mutable variable, just like in this one. So we are defining a variable called name with a value Rust. But we need to change the value later on, so we set mute to make it mutable, and then we can change it after we initially set the value here. And then we can print, and it'll print go instead of Rust because we have changed the value in the middle. Okay, and then constants. Yeah, constants means you cannot change the value, and just like this, like pi. Of course, pi will be 3.414 and blah blah blah. It's going to be long. And then data types, there's scalar data types. You can store a 32 bits data, 64, char, and boolean. Since boolean is just true or false. And then a compound like tuples and arrays. And then in the second hour, we will learn about input, output, and arithmetic. So you can use a print line to print a new line, and we can also use input like this. So we have to initialize the variable here. It's called name. It's a string. And then where's the value, man? Okay, the value is here. When we run the program will start to ask you what value for name you want it to be. So the user will type the value while runtime, and after we type the value, it'll print here. So we initialize the name called for a variable called name, which is a string, and then we ask the users what's name will be, and then we print it here. So this is an input and this is the output. And then we have arithmetic operators. Yeah, you already understand what arithmetic is. So we can set A as 10 and then B as 5. We can total both A and B here, and we will get 15 after adding up 10 with 5. And it's also work with other arithmetic operators like dividing, then decrementing, and so on. And then we have condition and loops. So condition is, yeah, you already understand it. It's also looks similar to our programming languages. In this example, we have score. If score greater than 19, so 90, so it'll print a grade. But if it's lower than or smaller than 90, it'll print needs improvement. So yeah, it's basically just like your programming language. you can compare this value of score and the value what you wanna like to set, and or you can also set another variable here, which is you have to make it in same data type. If this integer, this has to be integer too, and then loops. So same with similar to other programming language. Yeah, and then we have functions and modules. As you might know, function is a compilation of smaller steps to be run in a program, and it has a parameter, and here we we have to set to define what is its data type. We are using integer in 32 bits data. So what this function did here is just adding a and b from the parameter, and then returning it as integer 32 bit integer. And then here we have an example how we can call a function. So let's we want to add 5 and 3, 5 plus 3 with the function add. We define the a value and the b value, and then the function will sum it up, and we got 8, since 5 plus 3 is 8, and then the result 8 will be set as result value. So result equals to 8, and then we can print it. Okay, so it'll be result 8. Okay, and then next we have ownership, structs, and enums. It's kind of hard, but okay, just let's carry on. And for ownership, it's not that very hard. We just have to understand how it works. So we have two variables here, x and y, and in the first variable, which is x, we have defined the value to be try. It's a string, and the value is try. So, and then we have the second variable, which is y, and y, and we want this y have the same value as x. Okay, so we have defined it here, defined that the y is equal to x. So y value is try. If we call y, it'll print try. So since we have moved the value from x to y, if we try to print x, it'll give an error because x is no longer valid, because the value is already moved to y. Okay, so if you already set y to have the value of x, you can't call x anymore, you can call y instead. And then structs or a data structure, you can set a few data into one data structure, like ID, name, and working, and then we can set it in another function like this. And then you can call the what is it called, the object inside of the data structure, like the name. You can call it here, and we'll be printing it. And next we have enums. We have, in this example, we have an enum called languages. Okay, and it has 3 values: JS, Go, and VB. If the program function here accepts the parameter for language value is JS, and it'll print this. But if you pass the parameter to Go or Visual VB, you'll get the other print. So that's how I think that's how it works. Not I don't no 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 it's not how I think, but it's how it works. And then we have reference and borrowing. Okay, there's a mutable reference. The function accepts reference the string without changing the value. With the string means we are just borrowing the value, not changing it. Since we're working with a mutable variable, we cannot change the value. Okay, in this example, the call ref function borrows the value of the parameter that has been passed, like in this one. So let's say we're going to borrow value of MESG message, and we can check the length, like since we are trying to count the length. So we can call it here, and obtain message value without taking the ownership. So it just borrowing them, unlike the first variable example we have been talking, like the x and y and above. So it's just borrowing, so we can still call the message afterwards. And then mutable reference, this is allows us to create a value through a function parameters, and being able to change the value, but only inside of that function only. So we have set a score to 18 here, 80 here, and then we call the function add here with the score value as the parameter. So the add function here receive the score value here, but it's mutable, so this function can change the value. Since we are just receiving here, so it will stay 80 here, 80, but in here the file and this plus, it means to add up the value from here with 1, so we'll have 81 here, since we are we're adding up 80 and 1, so it'll print 81. Okay, but it's just works inside the add function. Outside the add function, it'll remain 80. So if we printed the score, we print the score again here, it'll just be 80, but here it will be 81. So it will change the value only inside the function, not the outside. Then the last one, methods, traits, drop, and closures. We have a method here like this, and then traits. Okay, traits you can set like a interface, and then you can use it into an object. Like here we're calculating the area of the circle using calculate traits. And then once we have done to use that, we can drop the object, and then closures. The final one is closure. Closures is like an anonymous function. It doesn't have a name, it doesn't have a function name, and it can be defined inside a variable. So basically it's just like except the, what is it called, x. So it's just like a function that has no name. You can set it inside of a variable, and then you can call it. It's basically just like a function, but without the name. Okay, I think that's the 8-hour speedrunning Rust. And Rust, final thoughts of this matter. So, of this material. So, Rust enforced strict memory safety with while offering powerful abstraction like traits, pattern matching, generics, and ownership. This 8-hour walkthrough covers the foundational concepts with direct practical examples. From here, you're ready to explore more advanced topics like lifetimes, concurrency, and asynchronous function. Well, thank you for watching. Feel free to correct me in the comment section because I'm also learning. We're going to learn together. So see you guys in the next one. I'm out.